Chapter 477, Heart Knot. This chapter is updated by novels.pl. There was a 2-meter tall rare purple herb behind Auxinian. It was completely silent when all of a sudden, a vein pattern appeared on the leaves. The leaf began to crack, revealing a large black eye, like that of a human. It was also like that of a monster. Be careful, Zhang Yuochen said. Auxinian was astonished. She also sensed an incoming danger and she was about to dodge. One of the leaves from the purple plant quickly rolled over and wrapped around Auxinian's body. Both of her hands were bound. She could not pull out her sword. She could only relocate her genuine chi to both of her arms to shake off the plant. However, it was quite resilient. No matter how much energy she used, the leaves remained unscathed. Auxinian began to panic. She inadvertently inhaled a horrible odor. The gas was toxic. She began to feel nauseous. Numbness generated through her whole body, making it more difficult to reallocate her genuine chi. What a strong human being. After absorbing your spiritual blood, my cultivation will advance the equivalent of 100 years cultivation. The rare herb suddenly let out a human voice. It had a total of 7 leaves. One of them was wrapped around Auxinian. The other 6 shifted into sharp tube-like objects that stabbed towards her body. Phew! The sound of sword resounded. The abyss ancient sword flew out from its sheath and made a distinctive arc in the air. The ancient sword created a sword breath. It cut through the plant, chopping down all 6 leaves. Blood poured out from the broken leaves. The rare purple herb let out a human-like screech. It fled, leaving only its leaf twined around Auxinian. It can still move. Zhang Yuochen smirked. He pointed out his index finger. A flaming red sword wave attacked the herb. It was struck by the sword wave and shattered into pieces. The leaf caught fire, letting out a buzzing sound. It burned into black ashes that drifted in the wind. Auxinian was lying on the ground, her eyes closely shut. Zhang Yuochen retrieved his abyss ancient sword. He walked towards her and put 2 fingers on her neck. He released genuine chi into her body. A few moments later, he removed his hands. The poison was not too overpowering. She is just unconscious temporarily. With her cultivation, she could wake up in half a day. Hey, Zhang Yuochen, why are you causing such havoc? Why don't we just leave her here and go collect the chi of origin first? Blackie asked. Zhang Yuochen hesitated. We should take her along. She's unconscious. If we leave her behind, there is a fair chance she could be devoured by the wood spirit or grass spirit. How is that possible? Who will carry her? Blackie asked. You, of course. Zhang Yuochen repositioned his hands. He cast his shadow of Royal Wind Dragon bodily movement and disappeared into the woods. The only thing left behind was his illusory image. Blackie glanced briefly at Auxinian. What a troublemaker. It picked up Auxinian and put her on its back. It turned into a black light shuttle and chased after Zhang Yuochen. Soon after they left, a group of people arrived. It was Page Zai Yongxi, Zuo Quling and 18 masters at the completion of Heaven Realm. They had been sent by the 3 great saints of the powerful families. Buzz, above Zuo Quling's head, there was a swarm of bees flying around. Each bee was as big as a fist. They were swift bees, a type of second-level savage beast. Zuo Quling was not merely a genius of martial arts. He was also a highly regarded beast trainer. He had the ability to control the swift bees to track Zhang Yuochen's aura. Zhang Yuochen left 15 minutes ago. He went northeast, Zuo Quling said. With a skeptical look, Zai Yongxi said, what on earth brings Zhang Yuochen to the primitive world of wood spirit? Zuo Quling replied, Zhang Yuochen's journey to the primitive world of wood spirit not only attracted our attention, it also attracted the attention of the people from the black market and the heresy. This primitive world must have something spectacular. Zhang Yuochen would not take such a humongous risk otherwise, Zai Yongxi said. The Buddhist Emperor and the Golden Dragon must have told him something before they died. The secret probably lies here. Zuo Quling said, this is possible. Nothing will be done if we keep on making wild guesses. Page said somberly. When we catch him, We will find out his motives for coming here. Zuo Kuling and Zai Yongxi nodded. The swift bees continued to track Zhang Yuochen's movement. Dawn in the primitive world of Wood Spirit was fairly long. It occupied 2/3 of the day. Night emerged. 2 massive moons could be seen in the sky like 2 shiny jade plates clinging to a dark cloth. A few bursts of shiny light poured down. Zhang Yuochen and Blackie stopped. They had found higher ground and paused for a brief break. Aoxinian was awake, although her cultivation had not fully recovered after taking the detoxification pill. She was okay. However, she remained silent. She stood motionlessly under the moon. She had always been a conceited and self-willed person. It was acceptable for her to lose to Zhang Yuochen, but after leaving the Saint Academy, she had gotten into trouble twice. If Zhang Yuochen had not bailed her out, she would have been dead. How could this be? Aoxinian was beginning to doubt her abilities. Zhang Yuochen sat cross-legged on a white boulder to practice. He replenished his genuine qi, which had been consumed during the day. It was now completely recovered and he was once more in his peak state. The final state of the heaven realm was within grasp. In just a few days he would likely achieve the breakthrough. Zhang Yuochen took a deep breath and retrieved the genuine qi that was spreading throughout his body. He opened his eyes and realized that Aoxinian was still standing unmoved in the same spot. She looked at him. Zhang Yuochen, are you laughing at me? Zhang Yuochen replied, why would I do that? I'm pretty sure you're laughing at me. You are laughing at my incapability, my arrogance and my overstatement. Perhaps you are right. I should just find a shelter to hide, or I should leave and go back to the Saint Academy. Her eyes were red and she looked like she was about to burst into tears at any moment. Zhang Yuochen asked, would you prefer the truth or a lie? The truth. Nervous, she held her breath. It was pretty obvious that she was quite concerned about what Zhang Yuochen thought about her. Zhang Yuochen said, your talent is undeniably high. I suppose it's incomparable. You are a genius indeed. If you practice further, there is no doubt you will achieve a saint status. You're lying to me. Aoxinian was doubtful. There is no reason to lie to you, he replied. If you didn't have the talent, I would not waste my time telling you this much, and ultimately, I would not have saved you twice. But Aoxinian replied. Zhang Yuochen stood up and continued, you are feeling lost now because you have never suffered such setbacks. Only through failure can people bounce back. He went on, you did not fall into the trap of Y eldest son and the grass spirit because you have feeble strength. It is because you lack of experience, since you were little and you have never met any evil people. And, you overestimate your ability. The battlefield of primitive world is not a tournament arena. It is not easy to survive. Be optimistic. Try to train more, and experience and endure setbacks. In the future, you won't be as vulnerable as you are now. Aoxinian listened quietly to Zhang Yuochen's preaching, like a little girl listening to her parents' advice. Zhang Yuochen told her a lot and she listened quietly. Her pretty eyes grew brighter. She looked at Zhang Yuochen with a new light in her eyes. 4 hours later, Zhang Yuochen said, I've told you everything I should tell you. Your happiness is up to you now. Aoxinians looked much more relieved. She smiled and said, Group leader, you said that one must suffer setbacks before he can actually bounce back. Do you mean that you actually fell into a similar vicious cycle? She addressed Zhang Yuochen as group leader now. It meant her heart state had changed. Zhang Yuochen glanced at her. It seemed he was recalling something. Then he nodded. Yes, of course. There was a very horrible one, which almost stopped me from standing up again. Impossible. With your superpower and invincible reputation, how is it even possible that somebody was able to take you down? Aoxinian was curious. Zhang Yuochen answered, no more questions. Even if you ask, I will not answer. In addition, I would like to advise you again to stop following me in the primitive world of Wood Spirit. It will not bring you anything good. Why? You want to refuse such a beautiful woman from accompanying you? You must know that many disciples of powerful sense families tried to ask me out and I refused them. Aoxinian was much happier. Her mood was fine. She started to smile and made fun of Zhang Yuochen. Under the moonlight, her skin was as pristine as jade. Her facial features were almost flawless, and she had very nice curves. Zhang Yuochen said, because I want to be the arch-rival of the whole primitive world of Wood Spirit. What? Aoxinian asked. You won't understand. Just as Aoxinian was pondering what Zhang Yuochen said, Zhang Yuochen heard a sound. His eyes concentrated. He quickly turned backwards and looked towards the southwest. Such a strong murderous feeling, they are catching up.